Okay, after action report for the destroyer Sortie on 7th December. This is the general outline of the after action report. I'll put the timestamps in the description below. Okay, so the main strategic overview. Stema got invaded the day earlier prior to the recording of this video. They took Alchemio Estate and Base Favorite, so that was the second island to the south, main island. At the time, there was no real serious effort to make ready the large ships to be on standby to QRF. In RCL, what we did was we made sure everyone was informed as to the situation. We analyzed during what times the wardens would be deploying their ships, and we had a general sense of idea of how they operated. They would always send their scouts and gunboats forward deployed, with also quite a few other large ships that would not participate with the main assault. I mean, easily they had 4 task forces formed on the 6th that went around and did separate things, and it was the last one that finally did the invasion. So we were prepared and ready to, see what they were doing and try to identify when the main effort was going. We got a little bit lucky this time that we managed to detect them as they crossed into Alchemio, the main fleet. They popped up on Watchtower, but yeah, we were ready in that regard. We had the destroyer pulled up to the seaport as well, so we were all set for that. Nobody else was pretty much ready in that kind of respect in terms of counterintelligence, intelligence. We had counterintelligence sweeps across the coastline multiple times. I think at least 2, 3 people from our regiment did that, starting at about 5:30 my time. So yeah, that part there on our regiment, we had all the main operational stuff figured out, which is much better than how it was during the first major fleet operation that we had to do. So the main objective for us was just to prevent the loss of Spearhead, trying to interfere with their second invasion into Stema, because we just want to try and hold on to Stema. There's not going to be any real major counterattack because we don't have the manpower or the resources to do that. So that was that. Okay, so we go down to the operational level. In terms of the coalition, as like the big fleet, there still was no system in place. And I put that again because anyone who's watched the first after action report that I've done for this war, this is almost the exact same slides if you compare it. We didn't have anything in place. The command and control elements outside of RCL also still non-existent. We did have contingencies. I didn't write it down anywhere, but I did have it in my head that in the event that my recommendations were going to be ignored, I would have Discord runners, quote unquote, which would be people we would send to other people's Discords, and they would communicate to us either by switching the Discords or using TeamSpeak if they had it. Or in the case, as we're about to find out here, I just use the world chat and relay that information to me whilst I'm looking through the spotter view. So yeah, all these points here, not much different from the first operation after action report that I put out. So yeah, just to recap for counterintelligence. Okay, in terms of intelligence, where we were gathering information on the enemy, we didn't really put much effort into that, except for the very start. We did send out a gunboat sortie, which we went out with the sole intent of, just getting the information on what kind of ships were present and where they were approaching the target from. We did manage to do that just at the very start. Me and Hazy, we led 2 gunboats, and we got full information on what their fleet composition was and size of their invasion fleet. So in that regards, we did. But in terms of like hacking enemy watchtower intel and having scouts forward deployed early warning, we didn't have any of that. But counterintelligence was still pretty good, much better than what happened before. Okay, no, this is the wrong slide. I should have deleted that. Okay, so there are 2 battles that occurred. It's the first one where we interfered with the invasion, and there was the second one where we pursued the enemy fleet. For these ones, I'm going to have to bring up the footage, and I'll commentate on the footage as it occurs. Okay, so I got the footage here. We'll skip to the first battle. So first part of the battle, as I said, we took gunboats out to try help out with friendly submarines, because at this point it was only, as I said, the lead elements of the Warden fleet that were deployed. So we know this wasn't the main invasion. They had deployed 2 frigates and a sub and quite a few gunboats, and they were just running interference in Westgate and in Origin. So we took out 2 gunboats first. Was around about this point here. We make contact with the fleet. Let me just reduce the volume. So Hazy goes down quite early into the op here for the first gunboat sortie because we jumped border and there was a gunboat waiting for us right on the border. So we managed to get that kill off after they died. But it was around about here where I said to Hazy that I was going to just try get eyes on the fleet because we want to know what we're facing up here. And there, we get full visual confirmation on what they have, where they're headed, and from what direction they were approaching from. So we got that off there. After that, we then load up the destroyer, which was already set up at the seaport. So once we get here, Hazy passes off the fleet command to me. And my plan of attack is simple. We can identify that the long hook is next to a frigate right next to the seaport because it's flashing. There was a listening kit somewhere here that was friendly and it was tapping into it, so we could tell. Either that or if it's a deployed long hook, the ops tower will tell us. I'm not sure, but we could tell because it was blinking for some reason or the other. It was the one that was giving off transmission of some kind. So knowing that was the situation there, my plan was we go up this channel here and we should have enough range if we approach this area here to indirect fire on the 2 targets that are right next to the seaport. And being in the channel here, we got plenty of room to maneuver and to escape if we need to bail out very quickly. As we were deploying, there were about 2 to 3 friendly subs in operation, but they were all over the place and we didn't have direct comms with any of them. It was only once the battle commenced that we did identify there was a UCF submarine in the channel here engaging them. So that would go into influencing my decisions once we start the fight here. But this was the main big picture as we were going into it. We've got no gunboat screens. We have no other support. Yeah, we're just trying to interfere with what's going on there. Okay, so I'm just going to run the footage from here until we withdraw.
280.
Strength 20, 308.
Left rudder.
Strength 27, 306.
306, roger.
Strength 34, 298.
Still rudder.
Strength 41, 296. Strength 51, 292. Depth 10 meters, it's a sub.
Right rudder.
Noise signature.
Bearing.
Azimuth 283. Depth 10.
Standby ASW, damage control.
Copy.
Close contact signature, depth 10. Distance 120. It's friendly, it's UCF sub. It's UCF sub.
Cease ASW. Okay, all stop. Gunners, target bearing 249, range 200. Correction, target 246, range 180. Go for the long hook. Commence bombardment. Sonar, keep scans to our north and to our front and right.
Max range, max range.
And right, roger. UCF is camping seaport.
Reverse left rudder. First left rudder. Jesus Christ.
Your bag's device, could you move? Just try and hug the wall, yep, that's it. Just give it.
Coming, bearing 259.
All stop. All hit. So the plan there was, once I knew that we couldn't get the range, because my friend gunner told me at max range, you couldn't get any shots in, I was to back up left so that we could try to get a little bit more distance closer into them. I knew that because there was a friendly sub at 120 that was in the channel. You can see him that he will surface a little bit later on in the vid here. He will go into the channel, so I'm not too concerned about enemy submarines in the channel trying to look out at us, because somebody else would take the shots there. But for here, and right this point in the situation, I'm just trying to back us up left, try to get closer so that his guns can get in. I'm not too afraid of the frigate because he still had to back out and pivot. So in the case that we had to run, we still had time to do that, so I wasn't too worried about that.
Damage in the front.
One gunboat front, direct fire.
Azimuth 50, strength 10, distant contact. Strength 11, azimuth 58. Strength 14, azimuth 61. Strength 18, azimuth 59.
All forward.
Strength 21, azimuth 62.
So this one that Red's calling out, this one we have no idea who it is. So I make the decision here to just disengage because we couldn't get any effective fire on those ships there, and the frigate had already left and was pivoting towards us, or it was already on the route to us. So I'm going up north to the right here into open water and try, if we need to engage, we have room to maneuver, or we also have the option of running and not being stuck next to the coast. Helm right rudder, make a course bearing 065.
Need water bucket up front.
Strength 13, azimuth 71. Lost contact.
So right there, we caught the glimpse of the UCF sub.
Possibly
What's
Saudi.
going on?
Roger.
Oh,
This is
It was the motor
large
mode.
ship combat.
It's an
then
iron ship.
I'm here for the ride, I guess.
Okay,
Roger.
stand by.
Could you grab 6 VMATs, a bucket,
Helm right rudder,
gas
make a
mask,
course
and filter.
bearing 060.
Movement on the ship.
60 VMATs?
6 VMATs, you're an engineer
Okay.
uniform is
all
again.
right.
So knowing that the sub is there now, I'm quite happy with trying to chase down whatever contact is on this side here, if it is anything. Because that sub needs to be engaged by the frigates as they're coming out of the channel, so we have time here. So I'm not panicking at this point.
We still seem good. We have
Okay,
no
Helm,
smoke.
right rudder.
Keep
Entering
your right
reverse
shoulder
right
to
engine.
the outside. We move anti-clockwise on the ship. So
I'm gonna
we
go
don't
back in.
clog it.
Right engine reversed.
Gotcha.
Pivot us,
Guys,
hard
don't
right,
stand
hard
next to
right.
me. I need to move.
Hugh, you have all the permission in the world to shoot people.
So we know it's the iron ships now, and I'm now quite happy to go back in to attack. So plan here is the same, except we go in from the opposite area. Now this time we're going to have to face 2 frigates. That one I'm pretty sure is going to happen, but I'm quite confident that we'll be able to get out of there very quickly if we need to. It doesn't come down to that, but we had the options. Damage control report.
Holding.
Continue your turn, continue your turn.
No holes, just bucketing out water now. Resetting damage.
All engines
Sonar,
forward. Helm, all ahead, still rudder. Go ahead, Zona.
Sonar directions.
To our north and west.
Northwest.
Forward,
Roger.
north forward.
All engines forward. Helm, all ahead.
All engines forward.
Guys, I need you to move.
Gunners, targets, front, standby. Helm, left rudder, hit direct south.
Bail the water!
Helm, left rudder, take us to base Sagita. Put base Sagita coastline on your right side. You copy?
Damage
Yeah.
reset.
Gunners, standby targets to bearing 220.
Where are we?
220.
How are we taking in water?
It's raining.
Oh, okay.
Go to half speed, Helm.
Gotcha.
We've got wind from west, so we're gonna have lower range.
Roger. Right rudder, Helm, right rudder.
Where are we going?
Where are we
One in
going?
frigate now bearing
We're trying
229,
to
range
cure
220.
the large ships in this X. Guys,
Light
Light
this is
rudder.
not
Hear your
Buckman, this is
comms.
rainwater. This is rainwater.
Gunners, target now bearing 236, range 180. Commence firing. Now bearing 238, range 140. He's heading east.
You're getting pinged, possibly by
Still
a
rudder,
frigate.
still rudder.
Yes, good.
Gunners, target 248, range 110.
Don't come back here.
Bearing
I don't
266,
know,
range
get
80.
out of here.
So there, my rear gunner doesn't quite know where he's firing. It's only my front 120 engaging right now. We get shots kind of close, but we don't quite get any direct hits here. And the second frigate's about to come in from the top of the screen here.
They're back
Gunners,
at
do
the
you copy
other
fire?
light ship. Merlin, be
Gunners, target
advised,
now bearing
second
313,
frig is
range 110.
coming.
Say again?
Second frig is coming.
Yeah, I see him.
Second frig is coming.
All ahead. Direct fire, right. Direct fire, starboard side. Funny, to our rear. Wake up.
Front gun, direct fire.
Hey, yo, look northeast.
So in this second pass here, we only got like, I don't know, 5-6 shots off, no direct hits. I think the second frigate here actually hit us a couple of times. This one, I don't know what's going on there. And yeah, the gunboat came in from behind. Rear turret didn't know that until we called it out. But that happened for that. Now, after seeing that I couldn't get into direct fire here, I wanted to just withdraw. And that's what we did here. We already had the channel to our front still open.
Hey, Funny, you got a target northeast. Oh, okay, never mind, he's gone. But just keep an eye out.
A
Warning
gunboat is
frig to
giving
our
chase.
north chasing.
Yeah, I see him.
Don't bucket up to the stairs. The stairs need to be used.
Hazy, we can
Also,
hear you.
this water is rainwater. It's never gonna go away.
Helm left rudder. So it's around about here. Not much point watching the rest of this clip here, but Valk calls in that we had to disengage. So that's what we do. We pull out, and it's at this time that VF sub was being mobilized in Ashtown, and I don't think it was at this point that the gunboats started getting prepped up, but we find that out after we get to the seaport. But yeah, it was my intention to already start disengage because I couldn't get any shots in, and our job was to try and interfere with the long hook, and we couldn't get any shots of that. Both frigates are now deployed to try get us, so that was our one shot to try and do some damage in, and we couldn't get anything out of it. So that pretty much wraps up the first part of the first battle. Yeah. Now we get to the second battle. So we spend a good I think 20 minutes in port here. 50. Let me check. Repeat your last peak. Oh man, we spend like 30 minutes in port here.
Okay.
But you were getting your shots. Yeah, it was a good 30 minutes or so waiting for the sub to get ready. They were low on manpower, and I don't think they were fully loaded on torps. So we were chilling here, but whilst we were chilling here, this is where probably the big decision should have been made, whether or not we should have committed later on in the fight, was that I have no direct comms with anybody. All I have at this point in time is Hazy, who is talking, I think, through chat or something else with the gunboat screen. I think it was a chat. He was talking to the gunboat screen. We had 2 gunboats that said they would help us out and screen us. We ended up deploying them forward into the channel to try to chase off the warden gunboats that started coming after us. But they got killed, and then they would respawn and join us later on. I had Peak Tiger, who is my 40 mil gunner. He was in the Discord of the VF sub here. So I could talk to him through TeamSpeak. On TeamSpeak, I had Hazy and Peak. So I could talk to both of them. So I could talk to Hazy to damage control to talk about the gunboat screens. I could talk to Peak about the sub. And what happens after this is that Red opens a line of communications to the chat to another submarine, the lock submarine, which comes into the channel here on the north side. And he tells them what we're doing, and he keeps them informed of when we were entering the hex and when we were getting out. So in my mind, as far as I can tell, we've got 2 subs and gunboats, and we're going to go all in to Stema here and, have a look. Now, the biggest problem here is, once again, that there was no real effort in the coalition to set up any kind of large ship QRF fleet. So the 30 minutes that we spend here basically lets the enemy withdraw. They actually get a foothold, and they also tap our spearhead. The tap itself is actually quite important because that means they tech down the whole thing and they knock out the seaport. And so basically, strategically speaking, they achieved a major what would have been more helpful on our side to have to kept the seaport in our hands. Basically, it's all gone now. So if they want to re-attack again, it'll be very easy for them to do so. Yeah, we spent a good 30 minutes here just waiting on everybody to get ready to go out. So yeah, that was a big thing there. But nothing too important to the final outcome of it. It was miscalculation on my part to think that what our communications had I have set here would have been enough to win a fight. Looking back in hindsight, this does seem pretty sus, because I don't think it's ever been done before like that. When it comes to fleet operations like this, I have done it before, but I've done it before in a proper way, where we had everybody on some kind of direct form of communication. In the past, when it was multiple large ships like this with the gunboat screen, it would have been Discord, TeamSpeak, and Gilded. The fleet commander would have access to all these 3, and he could talk to everybody straight away, instant communication. So we could tell each other what we were doing and who was where and what we were doing. That's how it's done in the past, and that's what I've done before. This thing right here, where we're talking to 3 different people who have secondary communications to other people, that has never been done before. I felt that I could pull it off with what we had here, because I knew we were never going to get anybody else in on it at this point in time, considering the fact that we can't even get VF onto a secondary comm channel after raising it after the previous fleet ops where we conducted with the Marines. Granted, it wasn't VF, but it's still part of the coalition. So that right there was probably the biggest decision that pretty much decided the outcome of what happened next. Yeah, should have added that to my calculations here, that once we tried to start pursue the fleet, that we should have just disengaged, because I really didn't have any real communications. This is all just an illusion, really, because it's not effective. So yeah, we spent 30 minutes here. What happens is that we have to go out of the bridges first, because the gunboat screens get knocked out, and we actually engage 3 warden gunboats in the channel here of origin. We kill them all. That allows the submarine to pass undetected, because they can't submerge whilst the minefields are in place. So we do that. So that part right there, that worked out quite well. But of course, it wasn't high stakes engagement, so we had quite a lot of time to coordinate this part here. So we went and did that. We clear it out. We engage 3 gunboats. Now here's the lock submarine. They get engaged by a warden gunboat. We clear them off. And then we get to, yeah, we engage that. Yeah, so here we are at the border. So I think I'll run the footage from here till we get to the end.
That's
Just the
right.
rain, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it keeps appearing, so it's a rain.
Aiden, are you the new 120 gunner? Did Hazy
They have
send you
crossed
up?
the border. Peak
No.
command, sub has crossed the border.
Roger that. Let me know if they see anything and when they start proceeding to the long hook peak.
Okay.
So that's peak there on TeamSpeak. So VF already crossed the border. I'm not sure if I already skipped the part, but we might count later. Red is telling me that Locks is on our right further up, and they'll be crossing soon as well. The gunboat screen, we've already lost 1 guy, but there's another guy that's coming with us as we cross, I believe. But I'll just run the footage here. Hazy, do you have a 120 gunner for me?
A 120 gun? Oh, okay.
Never mind, Hazy. I'll use the depth charger. Viper, you're on front 120.
Okay, copy. Sorry, I thought you said loader.
Damn, we have a real
No,
pro
it
on
was
120.
gunner. It's okay. I sorted it out. Viper, you on the 120 yet?
I'm going now.
You have 2 monitors, can you self-spot
Alright.
Vipers?
ASF switching to ship 2 for damage control.
Yeah, roger that. Peak, this is Merlin. Is the sub maneuvering to engage now?
Sorry, what?
Are they maneuvering to engage now? Say again, Peak.
They're still peak to Merlin. They're still fairly close to the border.
Roger that.
Are we crossing or sonar? Can you keep scanning?
Keep scanning, keep scanning.
Merlin, be advised, ASF is not weapon locked. He just got team kill warning. He is not weapon locked.
Swap back,
Merlin, this is Hazy.
Go ahead, Hazy.
Gunboat screen is crossing the rail bridge now in origin. They will rendezvous with us shortly.
Roger that.
I need ASF
Lock
back on the ground.
sub is crossing 160 meters to the northeast of us.
Roger that.
Merlin, did you hit?
So that's the general idea that's going on here. We've got one sub that's ready to cross, one sub that is going to cross that's on our right, and the gunboat screen to our rear. I'm just waiting for the VF sub to get eyes on the enemy before I cross. Because if we cross now, there's a chance that we might get jumped by a sub camping the border. But yeah, it's important that they go in and engage first, and then we come in behind them because they are the submarine, they are submerged. If they get jumped by a frigate, we'll be able to go in and intercept them. If not, if it's not a frigate and it's like a battleship that comes in, then there's not much that we can do. The primary objective has always been the long hook here. That's what they made clear to me, and that's what I made clear to my crew as we took the destroyer out in the first battle here. So that's what's going on here.
Hear what Valkyrie said?
Yeah. Hazy. So the problem with the bridge crew here is that we had some problems with friendly fire during the gunboat duel. TBFC got real close, and front 120 got a hit on it. But I think we both thought that he was weapons locked, but he wasn't. So had to switch around. There was a lot of switching around with the bridge crew throughout both battles. That happened quite a lot, and we really lacked experienced gunners to do the self-correct shots. It was not looking good in that department at all. But we managed to make do right up until the very end. Send ASF back up here.
Sorry, what was that? Send ASW?
Yeah, send ASF back.
Okay, copy.
Say again, Boogie?
Valk's already
Do I have to worry about hitting the smokestacks on the rear gun?
No.
No.
No, you can't. It'll just tell you that you can't fire.
Peak to command.
Go ahead.
Yes, ASF is not weapon locked. Repeat, he's not weapon locked.
Valiant sub is moving to intercept.
Say again, Pete.
Warden fleet is fleeing. Valiant sub moving to intercept.
Roger that. Okay, helm crosses. All firing cease.
Crossing.
Roger that. Locks, you can see it on the northeast. They're recharging the battery.
Roger that. Understood. Hazy, this is
First
Merlin.
go
We
back.
are crossing and attempting to pursue the warden fleet. They're withdrawing.
Copy, over.
The Vipers go back on depth charge. Let's ASF back on the main gun.
Yeah, I need to find ASF. Hazy,
Wait,
send
so is
ASF back
ASF
up the
going back
bridge.
then?
I just
He's
dragged
on his
ASF,
ASF up here.
are you
Yeah.
weapons lock or you just got a team kill?
I mean, I've got a team kill and excessive friendly fire, but I'm not sure if it's a weapon lock or...
Okay, you take over the 120
Peak
again.
to command.
Copy that.
Vipers, you're back on depth charge. Go ahead, Pete.
I can make sure if you want.
The sub
now, we're
will be
crossing.
on the
alright.
northwest of the border area. So if you get a ping there, make sure it's them before doing anything.
say again, they're moving to the northwest, and we should
They're
avoid
gonna be the
engaging them.
northwest area.
Roger.
So if you get a ping there, be careful.
Right. So this is the first. When I was in the command here, I got the west and the east mixed up. I was when he says here northwest, I did not read that at the time. I genuinely thought at the time here that they were going to be on the northeast side, on the north side, because that's where it looked like they were retreating. Because we did cross on the border here, but no, that was not the case. So this was definitely the first misread here that occurs. That I just noticed rewatching the vid right now. Peak, this is Merlin. We have just crossed into Stema. We'll be heading to the north side of Spearhead. Okay, red. There's 2 friendly subs, so you just need to be careful who we're pinging. But the enemy should be on the north side.
Roger.
Helm, right rudder. Hit direct north.
Enemy
Engineering
gunboats to our
reverse,
right.
right engine.
At the border.
Yeah.
Enemy gunboats to our north.
Enemy APC bearing 032, range 75. So this is our gunboat screen here. Now I thought there were 2 of them, and that one other guy was coming after this, but that's not what happens here. It's just that this one guy comes up and then he dies to this APC, I believe, and that was it. That's the whole gunboat screen gone. Almost in direct fire. Yep.
It is
Warden
indirect.
gunboat northeast. If you haven't spotted it already.
Okay, Warden gunboat now bearing 028, range 90. Helm, continue right rudder, right pivot. What's the weapons lock? Continue right turn.
We're still on lock.
Okay, all engines forward. Right rudder. Gunners target bearing 033.
Lock, lock.
Continue right pivot.
Move.
Weapons
Still
free.
better, still better. So we just had to wait for the weapon slot to go off there. Was why the reason why I stuck with the engagement here is just depending on the 40 mic to get hits in on him. When we were this close range with direct fire, there's no way that he would have been able to have sunk us. If he was in the dead zone and trying to kite us, then that would have been a totally different situation. But I was quite confident with how this one turned out. Helm, set your course parallel to the border.
Gotcha. Engineer both forward.
Gunboat destroyed.
Be forward.
Don't change it on that we ask, please. It's kind of confusing.
Okay.
Fire's destroyed.
Okay, Helm, left rudder. Follow the border parallel to the northern side of the hex.
We've got 1 smoke.
Roger.
Reverse left engine.
Hello, DBZF.
I totally did not realize that there was a second gunboat here from TBFC. That's interesting. Watching the footage here. Yeah.
Second gunboat has crossed.
Roger that, Hazy.
Possible
Merlin
Warden
over.
gunboat to the west.
Both forward, both
It's on the
forward.
map.
Kieran?
Engines forward.
What's the position of the sub?
Peak to Merlin.
Go ahead.
Northeast. The sub is northeast of the overlook.
Okay, so I wasn't wrong. Because like I said just now, 2 minutes ago, I thought that I definitely at that point at that time, the way I remember it, that they were on this side here because we crossed here, right? I would have assumed that they were going off here to cut him off from this angle here. This is where the fleet was going, and I was right. They were here, so I'm behind them and I'm falling forward. So I'm quite confident that if anything does happen, we're in somewhat close proximity. And also the lock submarine crossed on this end here, so I'm still quite happy that there's at least 2 subs in this general area of the hex. And like I said, I didn't notice that the gunboat was there, but I did assume there were 2. There is at least 1. Roger that. let me know when they cross into the next hex.
Roger that.
So now keep your sweeps to the front and left. There will be a friendly sub somewhere to the north-northwest.
Are we still pursuing? This could be a chance to glass Alchemio Estate and base feather with 120.
Yeah, we're still pursuing Hazy. There's nothing to glass. Oh, you mean Alchemio, right? No, we better stick with the fleet because we already told them we're coordinating with them.
Copy again.
Strength 22, azimuth 302. Death amount.
302, Roger.
It's an iron ship apparently.
Yeah, there's an iron ship bearing 279 drifting left.
Yeah, Roger. Strength 13, azimuth 308. Strength 19, azimuth 305, close in.
There's another large ship with a barge. I mean, iron
Roger.
ship with a barge, sorry. Helm, go to half speed. Peek this Merlin
Gotcha.
over.
Peak receiving.
Is the sub intending to still pursue?
Clarifying. Past the border.
Yeah, are they intending to pursue them into Fisherman's?
Possible warden scouts on the border to our right.
Roger. So this one here I never quite seen before. So I think what's going on here is that they're trying to cross the border and they're sending the crew over first because they can't get the queue in. I think, or it could just be a bug. I'm not sure, but definitely gonna keep a mental note of this. If we do see one in infantry contacts on the border like that, it does mean that a large ship is crossing,
They are marked on map.
which we did not know at the time.
Peak to Merlin.
Go ahead, Pete.
They are. They're not going to reach it in time, but if we go into Fisherman's, they will follow.
Okay,
Over.
yeah. We'll cross into Fisherman's if they want to go as well.
Roger that.
So in my mind and picture right here, last known position of the sub was somewhere around this area. And that was like, what, 60 seconds and 2 minutes tops? And we're communicating about crossing into Fisherman's here. And that we are still using the language, well, at least the way that I understand it with how Peak is communicating to me with the words that he's using, that we're going to follow and support, in which my mind, I would think that they would be trying to stick around close to where we are because they can see us, we can't see them. In my mind, that's how it would look to me, that we went to this side of the hex together and we are now intending to cross here. I would assume that we're going to try and cross on this area here together where we are next to each other. What happens, however, that is not what happens at all, none whatsoever. Now, about the Lox submarine, Red tells me in the debrief that he tells me that Lox is actually going to disengage and go back to Origin. I'm not entirely sure at what point that call out comes, but I did tell him in the debrief, and at this point in time, reviewing the footage, that I did not read that. Even though I responded to him, either I responded to him incorrectly, or I was talking to Hazy or Peak at the same time and answered one of them whilst Red was waiting for an answer, and he thought that was an answer to him. But we're about to see here. Now, looking at the footage here, the gunboat that was behind us is not here. I think what they did was they chased the APC, which I'm not sure why they would do that. But yeah, we are all alone at this point. But I'll come back to this point when I roll the footage a little bit longer. So I'm really confused now as to what those dots are on the map because I can't see anything here, but we're about to find out.
Be advised, Lox is falling back into Origin
Roger that.
because they cannot catch up.
I can't see these contacts. Is this a bug of some kind?
It's possible warden gunboat hugging the border. It moved to the north or
A lot of infantry dots on the border.
Peek to Merlin.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a frig about
Contact
to cross
frigate
the
bearing
two
040, range
Sub
80.
will fall
Peak,
off.
I'm engaged with the frigate.
Northeast,
I
northeast.
am northwest. I'm northeast of. Just check the
No,
fucking
No,
map.
it's not.
northeast.
So right there, we radio in. Well, I tell the bridge crew, contact frigate. I saw it cross because it just appeared out of fucking nowhere in the middle of the fucking ocean. So I'm very happy with trying to take this fight right here because he's weapons locked. So we're gonna go in here. Problem is that he's in our dead zone, which, looking back in hindsight, I probably should have made sure that when we were following course parallel to the border, that we don't have them on our dead zone. We should have either been right next to it or in range for indirect. That definitely is something to keep in mind moving forward. But right now, I'm very happy with how this is because as far as I'm concerned, we got 2 subs in the area. One of them is quite close. This guy just crossed. He's weapons lock. We're right now on top of him. Why not? So yeah, this right here, we still have the option to disengage here. So I'll point out where the point of no return is and where I missed that.
Their weapons
Gunner's
lock.
target bearing
engaging.
044, range 76. Helm right, rudder.
They might be within minimum.
Helm right, rudder. Reverse right engine.
Yeah.
They're
Right
still on
engine
weapons lock.
reversed.
If you aim for the rear, you might be able to get them, gunners. Range 108. Correction, bearing 110, range 140. Continue your pivot. Yep, you're getting good shots. You're almost there. He's still drifting back. Increase your range.
Both forward.
Engines forward.
Peek
Reverse
to
right.
So right there was our chance to try to get shots in before he gets his weapons online. And yeah, we didn't manage to capitalize on that. But I'm still confident in trying to go in after them. Because as far as I'm concerned, mentally in my picture, we outnumbered this guy.
command. Peek to command.
Go
Reverse
ahead,
right.
Pete.
If we run towards the sub can hit the frigate.
Where's the sub?
Both forward.
Forward.
Frigate is withdrawing down the border, Peak. I'm moving to engage.
Sub is in F1.
So at this point, this is where really should have just withdrew to the sub because now he tells me that they're on the other side of the hex. What they're doing there, I have no idea. He does give the fact that he said that if we go towards them, they'll be able to engage. So I'm assuming that they're already pointed in our direction here once I find out that they're there. So this is the second minor mistake that I make, thinking that they'll be able to get to us right now. Because if he tells me that they're ready to engage, if we bring it to them, they must be pointed in this direction. And if they are, if I'm going to pursue this guy, they can come towards us and we should be able to hit him together relatively quickly. But as it turns out, I don't think that was the case at all. I think they were hitting off into the other side of the hex, through the other side of the map, and they're going to have to turn around, which is going to take a million years for them before they get to us. And we basically have to fight this all on our own. As for the lock submarine, I still assume they were in the hex somewhere here, but I think Red will make the call during the fight here that they're not in the hex at all. Oh my god. Go to half speed. Continue
Gotcha.
following the border parallel. Pete, you've got to tell them to come to us because they're running on the other side. Did you copy last peak? Damage control report. Damage control, do you read me? Contact bearing 148, range 190 and closing. Gunners, you may engage. He's coming towards us. Decrease your distance. Helm all hit full.
Gotcha.
Follow the border.
In
Keep
that
us parallel
first
to the
initial
border.
engagement, we took 0 damage. I was just screaming in the wrong
Bearing
voice chat, I'm
200,
very sorry.
range 80. Peak, I'm engaged with the frigate. Still rudder. Now this is where I'm quite happy with how this fight goes because we just need to get out of these twin 98, 68s and get in behind, cross the T, and we'll have full broadside all our weapon systems on them, and they only can respond with their two 120s. So as the fight begins here, I'm very confident with how it is, and that's one of the major aspects as to why I kept with the fight so long. But looking back at it, after we get into full broadside here, we should have just disengaged. Now, the other thing that I'm thinking at this point in time is that he's heading off to our right here. So he's heading towards our subs last known position. But as I said just now, I don't think they're actually pointed in the right direction at all. So even though he's heading towards them, they're not going to be able to help us. This doesn't actually matter at all. Get us behind him. Right rudder, reverse right engine. Give me everything
Reverse
you
right.
got. Damage control, keep the 120 spitting.
Yep. Okay. Then keep reloading. Don't let those guns.
Pivot,
don't
pivot,
let-
pivot.
keep
We need to
loading
pivot.
Guns. Keep those guns loaded. Just keep fucking.
Gun it. So that was a great broadside there. Very happy with how that turned out. His
loading
target now
guns.
bearing
Again, if you're
274,
loading the guns, don't worry about
range
it.
130
Just
and
load.
increasing.
Load.
So yeah, now he's heading right to the subs national position. So I'm very happy to try to pursue this.
Like
Peek,
fucking hell.
the frigate is heading towards you now.
Load like hell.
Increase your range. Target now bearing 283, range 180.
Are
Helm
the
pivot us
120s
to bearing
aiming for the guns,
280
trying to
and then
disable?
all hit. Say again, Hazy.
Are the 120s aiming for the turrets to try and disable them so they cannot fire?
Both forward.
All forward.
Gunner's target now bearing 286, range 180. He's stationary.
Yeah.
Helm, what's our current course?
It's our 277.
Okay, yeah, good. Stand by to left rudder. So I'm still very happy because we're in the rear. He's got his two 120s, and we've got our front 120 and the 40 mil. All I need to do is just put the destroyer at a slight angle here so they get the rear 120 engaged and avoid the front 68s. And we'll be in a very good situation. Gunner's target now bearing 290, range 118. Come on, we can get this son of a bitch.
Larry,
Stand by, direct fire. I'll stop. Quick stop. Give him everything you got. Damage control, keep the 120s firing. So right here, I'm very happy with this position. I don't think he actually does have any line of sight for this front 68, and we are at that slight angle. The rear 120 can engage as well, so we're once again still getting in tons of good shots here.
Yes, copy.
Keep us at this distance, Helm. Forward. Keep us right behind him in this range.
Sealing bulkheads.
So here was another thing that just occurred to me. So it was only one time that I ever got a gunboat to engage another gunboat where we had the driver and the gunner watching my stream. And what basically that means is that their situational awareness on how the enemy is maneuvering and how I want them to stay within the dead zone or within a specific range, keep us relatively stationary, even though the two moving ships, the relative change in aspect is 0 because the driver can self-compensate for himself and keep there. We didn't have that going on here, which looking back at it, we should have made standard operating. So right now I'm trying to micro the helm and the gunners here, but we are in direct fire range here, so that part is okay. And in my mind, we're still heading towards our friendly sub.
We have Warden gunboat to the azimuth 300, distance.
Peak tells us up that we are
170.
heavily engaged. He is still engaging us.
Roger
Front
that.
gun, no ammo.
At this point that I should have started disengaging. Whether or not the sub was coming in or not, we should have just started bailing because it's two Warden gunboats that just popped up. I was still depending too much on the fact that we had two subs with us and the gunboat, but honestly, considering that I didn't see the gunboat on Watchtower Intel for the last 5 minutes, I should not have counted on them to be there or do anything. And as for the second sub, no. At this point in engagement, I did not hear Red say anything about the locked submarine. Unless someone did hear it when he was talking over someone, but rewatching the vid here, that was not in my mind at all. Left rudder. Damage control, report.
Sealing bulkheads, we're still coping.
Keep
No
the front
ammo.
120 loaded. He's not loaded.
Yeah, we're trying.
Helm, right rudder. Try to keep us behind him.
Front, no ammo.
I need
Fucking
loaders. I
hell.
need loaders.
Same.
Helm with disengaging. All ahead. Engine.
Yeah, the disengaging should have been done when Hazy said that they were taking floods and they were sealing compartments. That one there should have been the call for me to start the disengage, but now it is way too late. They got 3 warning gunboats firing on us. We only saw 2, but we'll see the 3rd one here. And to be honest, the damage that we dealt to this frigate doesn't seem, despite the fact that we got in behind him and we've gotten far more shots off on him, he still managed to handle it quite well. Far more capable than we were in terms of that respect for the engagement here. But we have basically been alone this entire time. That's the reality of the situation. In my mind, I thought we were, we had a whole fleet here, but that was not the case, and the tables have completely turned. We are outnumbered and we are really seriously outgunned.
Reverse left engine. We're out of here.
Copy, reverse and left.
Move out the fucking way. Move.
Peak, this is Merlin. What's your position? Pivot.
Fuck. I think I killed my loader by the splash.
Engineering is dead.
We need someone on engineer. We need someone on engineer.
I need an engineer.
I'm spawning in again.
So my problem here was that I should have been the one to jump out because I always take a wrench in the event that the engineer gets killed. But I was definitely not thinking straight in this fight here because it's at this point when I pulled the disengage that I realized that we are in deep shit at this point. Yeah, that was a big mistake on my part here. It should have been me to run down.
Hang on.
Target warning gunboat left. What?
Front compartment's completely flooded.
Roger that. Understood.
We need an engineer.
I'm coming, hold on.
Continue pivot left.
Oh shit, the door's closed. Hang on.
Peak on our left.
The sub is a minute out.
It's too fucking long.
Yeah, so a minute out, like, he was pointed the other way when he called out that was his F1. And yeah, no, that was, if I had known that, I would not have pursued the frigate for this long, for this far. But yeah, that was my decision there. So what happens here is that, as Red said in the debrief, he told me, but I didn't hear anything at all. Especially after reviewing the footage, the lock submarine is nowhere in this hex. They were not a factor at all. The gunboat screen, that one is on me because if I didn't have visual confirmation or on the watchtower nearby, should not have been putting in the mental calculation that they were going to support us. And as for the VF sub, that was the disappointing one because, no blame on anybody here or on them because we're trying to do with like 3 people communicate. So I got to talk to Peaks, and Peaks got to talk to them. And whatever they reply, he's got to re-communicate to me. And definitely things get lost along that way. I mean, it's nothing new. If you look back in like the old days when people had to fight wars with just messengers, things like that happened big time, and whole battles were lost. So yeah, it was a bad thing there. But we're toast at this point. This is the point of no return was definitely this point here. After we got off 3 salvos, I should have just disengaged. 3 salvos after we get into the rear of the frigate here. Because, yeah, after we get in on the angle here, the moment we fire off 3 salvos, so that's about 20-25 seconds of engagement, we should have just pulled out. That was the point of no return. Once that point was crossed, it was pretty much over. We were never gonna survive after that. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah, so at the end of the day, how was the fleet commander? Well, I say fleet commander, to be honest, it was still just one destroyer, and the destroyer captain was trying his very best to try and communicate with the fleet. There was no fleet. It was just independent commands trying to move out, and that is my fault. Like I said, the loss of destroyer is still on me because I was the captain, so the full responsibility is all on me on that. And it was my duty to make sure the comms were set up. And the actions that I took to make it were definitely not enough. Yeah, what I should have done was just scream at fucking everybody in the whole coalition to get this shit sorted out. Because, like I said, if anyone who has watched the first after action report knows that this whole thing was brought up, and we saw the major problems that occurred with it, especially within RCL. RCL knew better, top down, because we've done it before. Yeah, without the comms, without communication, there's no coordination, and that's the end of that. Final decision was to commit was on me. That one was the major miscalculation, thinking that the system that I had implemented here wasn't going to work. That was never going to fucking work. Not in a million years. Yeah, the second point, I raised that before. Everyone knows my stance on that. And yeah, I did know better regarding the comms. As for the tactical situation, I've already explained in the previous clip. Yeah. Yeah. Bad loss. God damn it.